So it's not really taking that much time when you look at it like that. It just sounds, when we're talking about this, it just sounds like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but you're actually doing these at the same time.
Yeah, and with Mudras and Bandhas, I might add, those we incorporate in the beginning. We incorporate them during our spinal breathing pranayama session. So they do not take additional time.
Yes.
That's really adding another layer of ecstatic stimulation into our spinal breathing practice. There's also some of the Mudra and Bandha stuff is in asanas as well, but again, it doesn't increase the time. It's an overlap with what we're doing already. And then in meditation, we don't consciously add other practices in, but what we'll find as Mudras and Bandhas become a habit, that they will tend to creep in there by themselves, and as long as they're not drawing our attention away from the procedure of meditation, that's perfect. That's the way it should happen. So with all of this, we're really only talking about a 30, 35-minute routine twice a day, and there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
It's very strong. In fact, quite a few people can do less and get a very good effect. Maybe meditate 10 or 15 minutes, do pranayama for, 3 or 4 minutes. So the thing can even get shorter, not necessarily because it has to be schedule-wise, but perhaps because it's a little bit too much purification and opening for some people. Some people are pretty sensitive to practices, so we can self-pace that routine to whatever is comfortable for us.
Excellent.
And then the way we tell if it's good or not is in our daily activity. If we're good in our daily activity, we're feeling some peace and energy and creativity and not stressed as much, then we know the routine is working. And if we're not feeling good in activity, then we know we need to kind of scale back on things a bit.
Although, it could be other things that are influencing us.
Well, if the practice is working, you mean in terms of in our environment?
Yes.
Well, if our practice is working, our reactions to circumstances in our environment, no matter what they are going to be more balanced and more, how should we say, steady, more centered.
Yes.
So no matter what's going on, whether if we have the most stressful things going on in our lifestyle, we're going to know if our practices are working for us because we're either going to feel more steady with that or we're not. So, and if we're not, then we should, consider just scaling our practice back a little bit. And it's not all or nothing, it's not I got to do the whole routine or I can't do any of it. It's a matter of scaling the time and the practices themselves. Some of the additional practices we'll be talking about later, they're totally optional, and there are some Mudra and Bandha and Asana related things that we haven't even discussed. There's just too many of them to discuss in this interview, but there's other components that we can add in there, and then we may not want to kind of scale back on those or not include them for a while until we're ready. So it's a kind of a building block process. Yes,
I know I had written down quite a few of them to discuss, like the chin lock and the Uddiyana Bandha, different ones, but they're all in the book, aren't they?
Yeah, they're also on the website too. We have, something like 350 free lessons on the website, so anybody can go there and read about these things, and then the books have more detail.
Excellent. Okay, so what's next, Yogani? What is part 6 going to entail?
Well, if it's okay with you, I'd like to cover samyama next week, which is a very simple procedure that enables us to move the silence we gain in meditation outward through our nervous system into our activity.
Moving the silence.
Many people have heard about cities and supernormal powers and all this sort of glamorous stuff. And samyama is what is behind all of that, but it's not as it seems. It's not about ego gaining powers. It's about expressing the divine through us and enhancing that ability through samyama.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to that discussion. Would you like to give out your website and any contact information again for AYP?
Yes, all you need is aypsite.org. That's aypsite.org. Everything is there, including all the previous interviews that we have done on the top menu.
Excellent.
And so that's all anybody needs to find us.
Okay, so if anybody has been joining us with this practice and you have any questions, there is an area for questions that you can actually write to Yogani or
the support forum, we call it.
Forum, there you go.
There are many people there that can help. There are people from all different backgrounds, all different kinds of experiences, and I'm there too.
Wonderful. Yogani, thank you again for an excellent interview and helping us along this path to enlightenment.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ann. It's good to be with you again.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful month. I'll speak to you next month.
Thank you. The Guru is in you.
Namaste.
Namaste.